We're not the highest profile branch in the network, but we've got what makes the real difference. Great people. Some of them aren't even people, and they're still great. One of the 3 copiers on this floor. Fax, scan, does literally everything. Documentation, one of the 3 Ds at SDN. There tends to be a healthy amount of paperwork. I used to call it triple Ds, but I was informed that had a different connotation.
How many heroes do you have here?
Network-wide, we're over 300. Here at the Torrance branch, we've got somewhere between 45 and 50, depending on our roster at any given time, working different shifts. Yep, healthy amount of paperwork. I used to call it triple Ds, but I was informed that had a different connotation.
What kind of heroes end up here?
Oh, all sorts. Some that are tired of doing it themselves, some heroes who prefer teams.
And some that used to be called Invisibitch. Quite the eclectic roster.
Yep, healthy amount of paperwork. I used to call it triple Ds, but I was informed that had a different connotation.
3Ds?
Dispatching, documentation, diversity is the 3rd. Not in terms of priority, of course. Yep, we're all about diversity. Lana works in the mailroom, from a different galaxy altogether. And then there's Galen, way back there, born with super hearing. He's from, I want to say...
Florida.
Florida, of course. Florida man over there. Hey, easy on the bath salts.
That was one guy.
Hey, speaking of bath, where is the,
Oh, need a bio break?
Excuse me?
Restroom. I mean, it's right over there. Sorry. At work, I tend to get a little
Corny?
corporate, Dick. Meet me in the records room when you're done. If you get lost, look for the door that says records room.
Bruh, I almost went in my pants. Hey, you this Robert people talking about? What's up, brother? My auntie named me Roy, but people call me Roy. All right. Good to meet you, bruh.
Likewise.
What's up, brother? My auntie named me Roy, but people call me Roy. Oh, my bad. You think I don't touch my ding-a-ling, huh? Because we stay in the Lua.
Kinda part of the process.
No need to worry, brother. It's okay.
So Royd, like steroid?
Huh? Hell no, brother. No, cuz. Listen. The 2 other guys here, they go by the name Royd. So I think it's like, we go scrap, we go ground, I bust you up, and then, you got Royd. You know what I'm saying, bro? That's what I think. Hey, you think that's why they call me Roy? Like I'm on steroids? But they think I'm some kind of a juice head?
No, I'm just kidding, man. Just making jokes about your name and the shitter.
I'm some kind of a juice head?
Man, I have no idea. I just, look, I'm just trying to wash my hands.
You brought it up, brother.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry I did that.
Some kind of a juice head?
Look, it's not my business, but I don't think it's a coincidence. Sorry.
Whatever. I don't care.
Nokia is probably best. Nice meeting you, Royd, even if it was while we were both holding our dicks.
You one funny bugger. Mecca man.
Okay, so I was worried about your unwashed hand, but now I'm worried that everyone here knows who I am.
Nah, brother. It's Kapu. Need to know basis and Roy need to know. Other one will come pick up your soup or fix them for the SDN.
Cool. You gonna wash before you do that?
Nah, bro. I never touch nothing. Just touch my pants and underwear only. Even for shake, I just do like this.
Can you show me again? I don't think I got it.
Holy shit, who's this freckle-faced fuck? How are you?
That's an aggressive way to greet someone.
Look at this skinny latte prick. Your bones, kid. You here to whip these assholes into shape or what?
That's the idea.
I'm sorry, do I know you?
Why you all tense? Why, you here to whip these assholes into shape or what?
That's the idea.
Why is this happening?
What, here to whip these assholes into shape or what?
That's the idea.
Oh, admittedly, I haven't had a hug in a while, but could you maybe not?
What? It's a hug, not a hand job. Lighten up.
Be that as it may, I'm still confused.
Oh, right, because I'm old as shit. How about this? This jog your memory?
Trackstar? Holy shit!
Yeah, you fucker. Why are you accepting hugs from old men you don't know? Oh, and hey, they call me Chase around here, so keep it, you know.
Sure, right. Yeah, Chase.
It's been what, 10, 15 years?
Has it really been that long?
Yeah, I reached out to this little pissant when his dad passed. Then he got to ducking me like he owed me money.
I was in a weird place.
I understand, kid. It was tough on all of us, so I can't imagine what you went through.
Yeah, so what's up? You gonna tell me why you look like Black Einstein?
Sorry. I never noticed.
Fucker. It's the powers. I could move 50 times faster than the average person, but I didn't realize until it was too late. And I was aging 50 times faster when I used my powers. Nowadays, I'm moving slower than frozen piss to keep the old ticker from popping on me.
That's a pretty cruel fate, Chase. What kind of awful shit did you do to deserve that?
Right? This is some war criminal level punishment. No, I was just out trying to help people like a fucking chump. This is why I know karma is bullshit.
So I guess...
Nowadays, I'm moving slower than frozen piss to keep the old ticker from popping on me.
Then how old are you really?
I turned 39 a few months ago. Went to Dave & Buster's, shit was lit.
So I guess...
Nowadays, I'm moving slower than frozen piss to keep the old ticker from popping on me.
I had no idea. I'm so sorry, Chase.
Hey, if I feel another ounce of pity from you, I will run you over in a parking lot and say it was an accident. They'll believe me because it looks like I'm wearing diapers.
So I guess this means you're the one person I can't complain to about losing my suit.
You better not. I would resurrect and re-kill your fucking father in front of you if it meant being able to use my powers again.
Jesus, Chase.
Wow.
What? Obviously, I'd let Robert have one last I love you before I extinguished the light from his eyes.
Was he always like this?
Yes, actually.
We joke, we laugh, we suppress our trauma. All right, enough of this feeling shit. Let's introduce you to your team of losers. Now, if I'm being honest, I thought and still think we should have canned these tunas months ago.
And you might get your wish, because if we don't see improvements soon, the whole program will be scrapped.
Cool. No pressure.
Welcome to Tran Plays Dispatch the Demo.
Sonar here was a Harvard graduate who
Will not shut the fuck up about being a Harvard graduate like all Harvard graduates.
who also orchestrated some of the most effective Silicon Valley investment frauds in U.S. history. Also,
Sometimes he transforms into a fucking bat monster that would eat you ass first after he emptied your pension plan.
Sonar has the ability to transform into a giant bat. That's monster form. This is the monster graph. His stats would be 2 mobility, 1 charisma, 2 intellect, 4 power or combat, and 3 vigor. And then when he's human form, it's kind of the flip-flop. It's specifically 2 of his attributes will be swapped with 2 other attributes. And I think this will probably lead him to being the most broken, powerful character in the game. This next character, the way they put his name down leads me to think that they probably should have named Sonar Batman. I know that there is a Batman, like I'm well aware of that, but I think they should just lean into the whole weird name interface and just say like, this is Batman.
Flambe, he
Controls the fire and the flame, and his skin does not burn?
Right, you met him. Didn't you ever run in with him years back?
I did. Yeah.
So you know he's a certifiable dickhead.
He designed his own suit, which, sure, it's got a giant, I don't know if it's called like a V neckline or something. Yeah, this is not how you spell the French word flambe. This is more of a play on Salt Bay, I imagine. The guy who has the meme of him pouring salt on his elbow to spice up barbecues or steaks and whatever with gold leaves. The steak's worth $240. Something like that. I think that's what this is supposed to represent. So if you're gonna go weird, corny names, meme names, you might as well make this guy Batman.
Invisigal, who you met. Turned herself in a few months ago and entered the program on the condition we didn't ask questions.
That's a little suspicious, no?
Suspicious? Really? Of a criminal that turns invisible and doesn't like to answer questions? What tipped you off, Sherlock?
I assume that it's called Invisibitch because in the outro of the video, they show some clips of things that happen in the storyline that they probably already animated, and that includes Invisigal meeting our hero, our protagonist. However, that being said, if they really did put Invisibitch in there based off of that encounter, I do think it's weird that it's on the disc. So chances are that's actually what the SDN company has named her, which is a little weird too, that they would put that in an official corporate speak.
Here we have coupé, which I recently learned is a French ballet term that means to cut, hence the knives.
That's very clever.
Yeah, but it sounds dumb to say, so everybody calls her Coop. She was an assassin for the mob, then went independent.
I like that. I like that people would say just Coop as a response, but I'm not sure they would do that in real life because you would hear coupé regularly, right? If people saw it online, like these people just saw like text messages from each other, then yeah, I could see them calling her Coop, and then eventually deforming it further into chicken because of her wings. Now, this game does use some words I've never seen before, even if they are compound words to make, well, like Umbra kinetic. Umbra being shadow, kinetic being able to move that, so she's able to bend shadows to her whim, and even fly using her shadow power. So this game does have a lot of new words, which I think is very, very corporate-esque. So this is a plus for me. Also, I didn't show everybody's stats earlier, so let me click on them real fast. So Flambe is this. He's got 3 mobility, 2 charisma, meaning that he will actually be an excellent mission goer. Dispatch is kind of like the police game Dispatch. I never did play that, but this is kind of like that. All right, and then that's her right there.
Punch up.
Carnival strongman who made a deal with a sorceress. She gave him the strength of 10 men. His muscles grew, but his body shrunk.
He's got all the charm and brains of a greasy bowling ball.
All right, Hypnokinesis. That would be mass, the ability to manipulate mass. Now, that being said, since he is a strongman and he is a carnival muscle guy, I don't know why they didn't just call him Strongman instead of Punch Up. Punch Up's a little bit of a weird name. I do like this though, to a degree. This is cute as a mental image, but given that this is a superhero database with aliens from other galaxies and stuff, and they talk about diversity and whatnot, because they're trying to rope in that they have so many people that are from all different walks of life, including these are all criminals, by the way. I would think that their height measurement there would actually go down to at least 2, probably even go down to 1 foot. So I do think that they would be ready to handle people of diminutive size. I don't know if this is also a joke about Irish people either.
Malevola. Terrifying. She's got a magic sword, and she creates portals that allow her to teleport.
Somehow she's still late for every fucking meeting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she does it on purpose.
This is one of the reasons why I like the lady. I assume her name is Blazer, because these guys will mention that on their off speak, like, do you think Blazer will beat us up if we unionize? So I assume that's her name. But the demo doesn't actually show what her name is at any point. Let me go back real quick, show you his stats. He's got very high vigor because he's got durability and pain immunity. These things will give you hints on how to unlock their powers. Currently, Steam does not know how to unlock her power, but I do, and I will show you. This is wound transferal, so I'm going to teach you how she will heal other people. But you might have figured it out by that point if you have played this game before. If you have, that means that you're watching this because you're interested in the game, so I appreciate that you wanted to watch this. Alright, I did say that none of these characters are good. That's because they're wanted for things like murder. Alright, that means that they have defeated and killed somebody that they didn't get along with. Could be another bad guy, could be a villain, whatever. Could also be innocents. As you will see as we play this game, there does suggest psychopathic tendencies. So I wouldn't necessarily be enamored with their personality just because they seem to be having fun. Of course they're going to be having fun. They like to do stuff like assault, burglary, and murder.
That's Golem. He is a construct.
A construct?
Yeah. A bunch of dirt and mud made sentient with magic. I think he's lonely.
I like that you can even see his expressions here. Like here is just a normal, and then here he's a little sad that he's taking this mugshot. Having seen mugshots myself, yes, they would typically not be sneering or anything. You see some young bloods, what they call them, trying to act all gangster in their portrait, but typically that's not how it would roll. Not only would the photo, if you've been to a DMV, they would restrict you from smiling and stuff so they can get a clean picture, typically. The same kind of happens for mugshots. So the eyes typically would tell a different story, like if they're trying to stare into the lens. Let's see here. His is actually the quietest, or what do you call it? Leanest? Least aggressive of stuff. So even though he's a construct, he's giant. He's what, 7'7"? He's not actually a super powered combatant. Pretty much all of your heroes will have a combat level of 3. The skills that they tend to lack will be intellect and mobility. Some of them will have 2 charisma, but most of them will have maybe 1 intellect and 1 mobility. 1 is the least you can have. This guy is bugged in that he will have -1 to his stats, again to a minimum of 1, no matter where he is. That's a bug, at least the way I interpret it. So when I unlock his power, I'll explain that more in detail. Morphological being, that doesn't really need further explanation.
Prism, Michigan born and raised. The power is weird. She weaponizes light rays or some shit. A lot of this stuff is a guess.
Why is she dressed like a pop star?
She's actually super talented.
Photokinesis. You probably have heard the prefix of photo, like photography, photosynthesis. Well, having heard kinesis before, like in the other characters, pycnokinesis, umbrakinesis, this is her ability to manipulate light and even use ionize or create light. So when I tried looking at photoionization because I wanted to try to define it better on camera, the definitions I was getting was to ionize something. It's like, dude, that is bad definitions. I don't like seeing definitions that define itself using the word that you're trying to look up. So let's say I looked up telephone or something, and it says, as a verb, to use a telephone. It's like, come on, man. All right, I don't know if I showed, oh yeah, I did show that. I don't know if I showed her stats for this. She's very balanced, and she can gain more as her power-ups go. For this character, you want to keep track of your hero. She doesn't have 4 in charisma, so you want to keep track of your hero's particular stats to have the best success rate. That's why she's a pop star.
Wait, so the Z team, my team, their Phoenix program?
That is correct.
Your own motley crew of dangerous fuck-ups.
We're not looking for miracles, but we'd love one if we could get it. Can you show him his desk?
Sure. What's that arm squeeze about?
You want one? Here.
Fuck off. This is you. Pretty sparse, but feel free to decorate.
This computer's older than you look. Wait, so we're doing this? I haven't even met the team yet.
We did the slideshow.
First of all, that wasn't a slideshow.
Look, we like to start slow. Most people don't make it past the first dispatch, and this is better for everybody's safety.
What do you mean, safety?
You'll be fine. And this here is our little slice of the Southland. Whenever there's a crisis in the area, we get a call, and guess who answers?
Me.
Exactly. Now put your headset on and introduce yourself to these pricks.
Hey, team. This is your dispatcher, Robert Robertson. I'm starting my first shift.
Tell me that's not your real fucking
Stuttering,
name.
bitch! You can't be this shook on your first day, come on!
Can we clear the channel, please? There's a lot of overlapping on this.
I saw him in his underwear.
Who? Roberto son?
I saw him in his underwear.
He back in mine?
Oh, but he's got a lot of bruises, which I'm into.
Again, please clear the channel.
We get it, your email.
Shut the fuck up! Let me remind you, these calls are fucking recorded for training fucking purposes. So keep the fucking line clear before we send your stupid fucking asses back to whatever fucking cell we pulled your stupid fucking asses out of. Alright?
All right, this is where the bulk of the gameplay will take place, other than the visual novel-esque stuff. The game itself, the demo, ends at the conclusion of this first shift, right at the end of a scripted sequence where they're going to have you use cameras. Or right before we get to that point, that is. In Dispatch, your job is to respond to various calls from subscribers within the city of Torrance by sending heroes from your team. when you send someone, okay, your missions will start out as this. When you send someone, it'll look like this. And if the hero needs your intervention to succeed, you need to click on the hand icon. Don't just wait for the hand icon to disappear. Your heroes will display strengths and weaknesses in the following categories: combat, vigor, intellect, charisma, and mobility. We pretty much already covered those. When you look at a mission, it will give you a hint of what things it will require. It's not like a 1-to-1 ratio. For example, this does not mean +1 mobility and +1 charisma. For this particular event, it would need 3 mobility, 2 charisma. And we did cover a character that had that. He's not exactly a child-friendly guy, but he is perfect for that mission. This game has an interesting, I don't know if dichotomy is the right word. If you send someone who's perfect for the mission, you get less experience than if you send someone who's not that good at it. And I kind of like that. From a realistic standpoint, that does make sense, because if you're uncomfortable with the situation, you have the opportunity to learn more. Whereas if it's routine to you and you can do it with your eyes closed, you're not really learning anything. So I like that as a realistic standpoint, and I like it from a game mechanic standpoint, because if, let's say that you weren't spending your level ups correctly, or you weren't picking the right choices for the mission, so you weren't getting stats and you weren't able to keep up with dispatch missions, then anytime you did win one, you would get way more experience. So it's kind of a catch-up algorithm. In that case, I think that they probably need to ramp up the experience, because if you send someone with, like, say 70-80%, you get maybe 700 experience. If you send someone who's perfect, you get maybe 500 experience. So maybe a little bit more than just a small bonus. Now, some of the missions will be worth a ton. They'll be typically worth maybe like 900 experience in the dispatch day 1. This first one just happens to be worth 500.
My son's balloon is stuck in a tree. Can you send someone?
All right. Whenever I am waiting in a screen, that might mean that I'm waiting for the bubbles to finish talking. So I might even open up their hero database to let them do their speech. Because if I don't, then you won't hear more dialogue. This is climb a 40-foot tall tree. If you were playing this normally, you would think, okay, I need mobility. And don't make the child cry. I could see some arguments made for intellect, but realistically, we would understand that being charisma. Lambe. He's got 3 mobility, 2 charisma. He is a good match for this.
Brace yourselves, bitches. But they can be dudes too. I just mean, bitches as people. I don't see gender. Only people to fuck up.
Mr. Vanderstank is requesting a hero for a very important event.
Who's this Vanderstink guy?
Willem Vanderstink. Certified genius. Literally, he has a certificate.
You aren't a genius if you need a piece of paper that says you're a genius.
You're just jealous. This guy rules.
I hadn't actually heard that one, and I've played this for at least, according to Steam, 8 hours, just trying to get this footage together. The one I was hoping to get was where he starts trash talking the tree on his way, but that was really good too. Now, when you do send people, sometimes they actually have a specific dialogue for the mission you're sending them on. Whenever you complete a mission, there is specifically catered text for that mission as a victory. I'll show you when we actually win one. Very high profile ribbon cutting at Van Gogh, and send someone that make SDN look good. In this case, this is actually both charisma, and remember, it's not like a linear chart where it says every time you see a bullet, that means +1 charisma. We do need like 3 charisma, sure, but in this case, or in other cases, we could find a bullet and it'll say like, we need 5 charisma.
I'll handle this shit like I handle all my shits. Upside down.
I thought that was pretty good too.
I'll take Wednesday.
Tuesday.
Dibs on Monday.
What are you guys talking about?
We're taking bets on when you'll quit.
Friday?
Today's Friday.
I know.
Don't forget to review your hero's performance. They won't be sent out again until you do.
I'm not fucking around, alright?
So we got 520 experience. I do think that the experience bubble appears and goes away too quickly, but that's because I was trying to take notes on all of the missions on how much experience I was getting for everybody I was sending out. So maybe you might want to instead, let's say you're playing this again on your second or third try, and you think, oh, I don't want to send someone perfect out because I'd like to get a chance for more experience. Then you could kind of calculate the risk versus reward of sending someone with like an 80% chance for that 700 experience. That's like a 50% experience increase. Now, when they are returning, of course, they have to walk. Flambe, even though he has pyrokinetic flight or whatever they call it, he just goes down the streets. Fine. He doesn't want to use his powers to move faster. I get it, because that just means he has more work to do. Fine. But I do think it would be nice if they did use their powers to traverse back. Invisigal does kind of do that. Once they get back to HQ, which is right here under the mouse cursor, they also have to rest. I think that's cheesy, but fine. So, if you wanted to send out your heroes again, you need to wait for 2 bars to finish. You can kind of hold off on doing a mission until they have recovered, and we're going to be doing that for Punch Up.
On fuego.
Once you do something that relates to their power, it'll show you what that power is. After success, Flambe gains +1 combat and +1 mobility. This effect stacks, all boosts reset after a failure. I'll be showing you all their powers, even if it means I don't do things the right way.
Oh my god! My bidet is spraying shit everywhere!
What I mean by that is I'm intentionally going to fail one mission in order to show you powers. Alright, it doesn't matter if you do it or if you don't. Nothing changes, at least with the demo, because it ends just after about, say, I think 13 missions total. The hacking missions, I don't really like them because it's just really, really boring. Now on Steam, people have said that they have trouble doing this because they don't have a WASD keyboard. I don't know what a non-WASD keyboard looks like, but in case this helped them, which it probably doesn't because they're done with the game already, you can use arrow keys. But maybe those keyboards don't have arrow keys. I don't know. The reason I don't like it is it's just moving around, and then it's just walking up and down. Now, this stuff is not random, so if you know the keystrokes ahead of time, you can start mashing those keys before they even animate, and I do like that aspect. Whoops. I hit X instead of S.
And swish.
Then you click, drag the mouse downward to the end. So the reason I like being able to pound the keys before you even see the animation, there are so many games that don't let you do anything until the animation is finished. Let's say that you're closing in on a keypad on a first-person game, and you start pressing the keys on your keyboard. By the way, most of those keypads in games, they require your mouse input, which I don't like. Like, I would say 80% of them require mouse input, even though you literally have a keypad on your keyboard. Fine, whatever. But generally, when you're like zooming in on that keypad, it refuses to take any inputs from you until it's finished zooming in. All right, but this was good, comparatively. I'd still rather not play the hacking minigame.
Get these idiots out of my bar before they destroy it. And don't send the flaming asshole.
Do you know who we saw in the bar last night? Mecha Man.
And he kicked Flambe's ass.
Okay. That little shit did not kick my ass.
You did, though.
Yeah, I think I heard about that.
No, you didn't. Because it didn't happen, Bob. So we're all going to shut up about it. Yeah? Okay.
Now, I have tried to break the game already, even though it ends after a couple missions. And one of the ways I was able to soft lock this game was if you don't accept any missions until the very last mission that requires you to click on it, the game will not continue. Thusly, it doesn't end the demo. Demo just goes on forever. But that doesn't mean you unlock new missions or anything. You just sit at this screen forever. I think this was probably one of the cues to conclude the episode, because we need to piss off Flambe. And by clicking on Fight at Kryptonite, your characters harass Flambe, and then that opens up, I guess, ambient dialogue? I don't know if that's the right word. Background dialogue? Though it is required, so maybe it's not background. Whatever the case is, we needed this dialogue. Now, this is one of the only 3 missions that you can get, or 3 hero missions, or 3 hero slot missions, I'm sorry, for this first day in dispatch. So we're going to use this to unlock several of our power-ups. Let's go and plop in Coupe.
Close your eyes. You're not gonna like what you see anyway.
In 2+ slot calls, if placed in the first slot, Coupe gains a +1 combat. If placed in the second slot, she gains +1 mobility. That might be hard to remember remember you've got 8 heroes, but the game does this really nice thing where if you are selecting your character, it shows you power, mobility. That's cool.
Graceful, but deadly.
Let's go and plop in Prism. Doppelganger Illusion. When assigned to a call, Prism duplicates the hero to her left, placing their illusion in an empty slot with half their stats. And then if I want to place in a third hero, I need to just take out Coupe and slot in Golem.
Okay.
When Golem is in a call with 2+ slots, certain ones may grant +2 to a stat and -1 to others when he's assigned. Let's talk about Golem just a little more. You can see here that we have Speech Bubble and Power. I'm kind of assuming that these are deliberately coded for each mission. Maybe it's randomized, but I'm kind of assuming maybe it's deliberately coded. Here's the problem with them. He has, by default, a info. Oh, no, not info. He has got, by default, 4 vigor, 3 charisma, and 3 power. Okay? He's got 1 of these other stats, but they won't be influenced. So 4, 3, and 3. Ready? Let's go ahead and put him in this one. All right, so he's going to get talk increase.
Yeah, okay.
That 4 became a -1. This 3 became a 2. Now he got a 5 for speaking or charisma, so that 3 did get a +2. However, it says here certain ones may grant +2 to a stat and -1 to others when he's assigned. I had originally, for like just say the first 2-3 playthroughs, assumed that this meant that he would only get -1 if you placed him in a category that didn't have his power up. However, unless it's a bug, it's a -1 period to everything. That is important to note, because when you're sending out to one hero missions that might not have a power icon, he's going to have 1 less stat than you need, and that can mess you up because there are missions that require exactly 3 charisma. Alright, that was a lot of talking. Let's just go and throw in Coupe and then Prism.
Sharp as my knife.
And then we're going to glitch the game and take her out. Now she's got hologram Coupe, but no Coupe. This isn't not necessary. We're going to show the choice selection in dispatch, and we're going to use her superpower.
I guess I'll go.
Today, Torrance. Tomorrow, also Torrance, probably. Like, statistically speaking.
So what generally happens if you don't get a perfect dispatch, like it's say 88%, it just drops a little ball in air, basically, and just bounces around inside their target area. Your hero stats are the yellow one, and as long as the ball lands within the yellow stat area, you win. But remember, it's just a bounce between the white area. Since it's perfect, they don't even waste your time doing that. That's a nice touch. So we represented the SDN. That's good. So that's what I mean by the game gives you a personalized or tailored completion mission for each thing. However, we are going to show you why Sonar is probably going to be the future most broken character in the game, and I will use that if I play Dispatch further. I really like the animation stuff.
Okay, what's going on with Sonar?
Oh, that, yeah. He kind of randomly turns into a monster sometimes.
Randomly.
We are working on controlling it.
Sonar transforms after returning from a call. His intellect swaps with combat, and his charisma swaps with vigor until the next call. So yeah, his intellect and combat and charisma and vigor, you just got to keep track of that. So I think that you would just level up his intellect because he has more intellect than any other character on the team by as a pre-generated character. You basically at the start of the game, you just level up his intellect and then he'll cover all your combat missions for you as well, assuming that you can keep pace of his monster or bat form. Right now he's monster form. We're gonna wait on that a little bit for our people to return. Flambe will not be assigned to that one. I forgot to get the voice line for that, so I'll include that at the end as well. But Flambe will not take this one so that the game can streamline this next event a little more. These are differing charisma-based checks. So this one might be a charisma 5, this one might be a charisma 4, this one might be a charisma 3. This one, if you see this little icon here, represents that your hero is specifically tailored for that option. And I would say out of all the ones available in day 1 dispatch, all of them but one give you a positive outcome. You can just use this as a get out of jail free card if you just send the right hero. Even if they don't have the right stats, they might have the right powers.
Give them a makeover.
All right. From this point on, you two have been reborn as Saber and the Bruiser.
Not only are there victory messages tailored for that mission, but they can even be tailored for the choices. If you suggest they become a dynamic duo who are fighting over the name Fight Man, then that becomes the Fight Man as their label right here. Speaking of which, every time they say Mecha Man, I keep thinking they say Mega Man, as in Rock Man, the guy from Dr. Wily stuff.
Boat robbery in progress at the yacht club.
Okay. Oh, hey, if we unionized, would Blazer kick our ass? So what was your read on this Mecha Man guy?
Washed up, drinking alone. A robot guy without his robot, I guess.
So, just a guy?
Hear that, Flambe? You got your ass kicked by just a guy.
All of you, shut the fuck up.
So that pisses Flambe enough.
Flambe, you're off route.
fire at a local park has gotten out of control.
Did you start that fire?
No.
The fire that's burning 2 blocks from where you're standing. You didn't start that.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm on break, so how could I know?
Flambe, stop fucking around. I've got enough problems without you making new ones.
Whatever, man.
So yeah, I really like the voice acting on that one. You can kind of hear him being exasperated at first and then irritated later on. I'm not even sure if he's facepalming at that time, but he might very well be. Speaking of which, I do think that if they're going to make the computers look older, then they just probably need to be not remote or wireless headsets. They probably need to have a cord plugged in the computer. In fact, my headset right now is plugged into the computer. It is not a wireless because I don't like wireless stuff. I've mentioned before, I'm kind of at an older side, and I have the impression that wireless stuff is more prone to being interfered with. Not because of some malicious hacker dude, but for example, I think, say in the 90s, if you brought a phone near some speakers, it would go zzz, sounds, right? That kind of stuff. So maybe like a microwave might also interfere with your wireless connections. All right, for this particular mission, we're going to go and send Punch Up. Punch Up can win this mission. However, he also has the choice to fail the mission. I want him to fail.
On it.
There's 2 reasons. 1, I need to show you 2 power-ups that I'll reveal by making him fail. And 2, the subsequent mission that you only get for failing gives you more experience. Now, if this were our actual playthrough, I probably wouldn't do it this way because I would always have future opportunities to show you the power-ups. However, this is my one demo run of it.
I used to punch bums on that corner. Makes you wonder if the best days are behind us.
Hey, someone's robbing the museum. I don't know what you do, man. I just started today.
For this particular one, the museum robbery, we're going to send just Golem. Now, we need... Let me think here. Security system has been taken over by robbers, and avoid motion sensors and apprehend thieves.
Good.
I'm going to stick them on Vigor. And the reason I was about to hover over this is I was gonna click on that so they could continue their dialogue.
Portions of performance art.
But I've timed on everything else, but I want to show the voices, so... There was a chance we could have failed.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
There's gonna be another mission very, very soon that's gonna be like a 65% chance. That's really the best we can do. We can send someone with an 80% chance, but if we did that, we would miss out on a memory. So for the optimal playthrough, we will go and send the guy with the I will remember that.
Hey, Bobby. Here, William Vandersnake needs a security detail. Is it cool if I go? I've been wanting to pitch him some stuff I've been working on.
Yeah, pretty sure that's exactly what he's trying to avoid.
2 competing calls appear. You can only choose one. Let's listen to the one we're not going to choose first.
We're going to need you to protect Mr. Vanderstank from the Vanderstanker fan club.
Once you dispatch your heroes, the other call will disappear. Guard Vanderstank at his Van Gogh after a party. If you looked at where the missions were taking place, the Van Gogh opening was at this large building. Looks kind of like a weird view. And now I guess the after party's taken down here. Stop the CEO's adoring fans, even Sonar, for bothering them and look good while doing it. So you can't send Sonar to this one specifically. Send literally anyone else. However, if you send someone to this one, while it is also related to the success rate of the hero, you'll probably average about 200 experience for everybody else, and then maybe 800 for the hero you send.
I'm a high-ranking Vanderstanker. It would mean a lot.
However, if you send Sonar by himself, he'll get 1,200 experience, which is less than if you count up everybody's, right? Let Sonar meet his hero, Willem Vendersting, and pitch him ideas. We're gonna do that. Even though he's monster form, we're gonna do that.
Sure. Go ahead.
Thanks, man. You will not regret this.
Well, I didn't think I would until you said that.
The fire is out of control. How should we stop the spread? If you use the hose to extinguish the fire, that will be an intellect 2 check. If you use the body to smother the flames, that'll be a vigor 4 check. Any of these skill checks that you pick, so basically anytime you pick an option, it's a skill check that is not a bouncy ball mission. So because we literally don't have intellect 2, we'll automatically fail that.
I think I'm gonna use me head.
Hardhead. Punch Up doesn't receive any debuffs from injuries. He cannot be downed. The demo is slightly glitched in that it'll show he has phenomenal stats now, but as soon as you dispatch him, those stats revert to normal. I'll show you on his next dispatch. When a hero gets injured, their stats are decreased by 1. It's important to note. If an injured hero gets hurt again, they'll become downed. At the end of this dispatch, it wants you to sit in Invisigal. One of the ways I tried to break the game was I tried to get Invisigal down. It would not let me. Injuries stack, meaning that a hero with an injury can become down if injured again during a call. Alright, hold on. Okay, nobody's talking. How should we get around the sensors? The words will give you clues on what kind of power-ups they would use, so this would require mobility, this would require vigor. What I would like, though, is the game to just maybe highlight it on here. You don't have to tell exactly what level it is, so this would be mobility 3 and vigor 3, but maybe highlight it, that'd be nice. The previous Blaze in the burbs, I forgot to show you, but one of the hints was quick, so you would think that's mobility. Unfortunately, the quick was really just an intellect check. We're gonna power through the sensors. But yeah, the words could always be interpreted differently than they've been typed, right? So maybe just show directly what you mean. I know it's meant to be a hint. I know it's meant to be a hint, but I mean, I would say almost every player, when they see the word quick that is highlighted, they're gonna think, oh, that must be a mobility check.
Denny the Bone Zone Diaz here. Today's topic is all about SDN hiring criminals to protect us.
One of the things that I haven't gone over yet is that your heroes will sometimes have specific, unique voice lines for the mission they're going on. So if you send Coupe, she'll say like, he leaked my mugshot. If you send Prism, we'll have a 65% chance to victory on with Prism.
Fucker said I was pregnant. Hell no.
The nerves are hitting Sonar, and he's second-guessing his human meat alternative pitch. How should he approach it? This one's, I think, a Charisma 4, maybe a Charisma 5. This one's a Charisma 1. I have the notes written down exactly, so I'm not going to worry too much about telling you like the optimal play, because it's all the same skill. This one's just the lowest skill check that even monster form can handle.
Make it relatable. You know, tell a story.
I've got a great story. You never have too many soft skills.
Your hero has leveled up. Access the hero database by clicking on this icon. Now navigate to the new upgrade tab. Yeah, every rank up earns your hero a skill point. They're used for increasing stats. Duh. Use the plus next to a stat to spin the skill point. Once you confirm, you can't go back. Normally when something's a tutorial, I try to be more lenient. This is a game that says it's going to have nudity and it's shown a lot of swear words, so it's not necessarily a game for kids, even if it's, I don't know if cartoon is the right word. Drawn, I guess. If it's not a game for kids, and they're probably relying on techniques that they've learned by making The Walking Dead and all that other stuff, you don't need to lower your tutorial level to something like, you use your stat point and press the plus button. Really? That's been around since Diablo days, at least. Okay. I also put little stars by every character's attributes for ones I would want to raise. Because I would look at them as like, okay, Flambe, I probably would raise maybe his combat or something. Because his power-up gives him +1 mobility and +1 combat every time he succeeds on mission. For Sonar, I would level up his intellect. You don't have to make choices right away, but don't forget to check the hero database. This is the hero database, by the way. It's just probably referring that you should probably look at it and see what everybody else's stats are. We're not actually going to commit though, because I would like Florida Man to nag me, which he'll do if you don't spend your points.
We've encountered these thieves before.
We're gonna go ahead and send Invisigal and Coupe. Remember that since we're sending Coupe, it does matter which order they are in. The person in the first slot will be the leader of the party, and they're the ones that's gonna have the voice lines. We're gonna track down known members to find their hideout, which means I would like more mobility. Bam.
Yes.
Of course, compiling cross-reference will be intellect. The intellect check here is not that dire. Mobility is pretty good though.
Need to get some steps in anyway.
A kid just robbed me. That little shit, I want him behind bars.
For the juvenile, Malevola and Malevola and Sonar will have a specific catered option for that. However, because we have limited personnel for this run, and I was trying to show off certain things, we're only limited to Flambe and Malevola. We're gonna go ahead and send Flambe.
Whatever.
By the way, all of these missions happen at the exact same time normally, as in, if you play it the second time, it's gonna be the same order of things. Flambe, he helped the kid in the last time. You think that he's great with kids.
The kid should take up arson instead.
Flames are spreading to the houses. We need to evacuate.
One of the interesting things about this is you can actually tab between if it's a quest line. So we can see here we sent Punch Up previously. We're not actually going to send anybody right now because we're going to wait for Punch Up.
Heading there.
Oh, let me show you. Yeah, this is not my actual stats. Once I dispatch, he's not going to have 8 vigor, 7 combat. For whatever reason, the game just sort of glitches out with that.
Ugh, whatever you say. Yeah, that's gonna leave a mark. Good.
How long was the last dispatcher here?
2 days. New record.
How the fuck did that happen?
I set this car on fire. Yeah. Very flammable. Kia Soul.
Life trait. Malevola heals 1 hero when sent on a call together. She then receives +1 charisma or vigor. This affects stacks. One of the things I like about the game is that they actually use real names. So many times I'll read something or see something, it'll say like NewTube or Z instead of X. They try putting in different names to avoid copyright issues or something, but I don't know if I don't know. I understand why someone might do that, but it just makes it feel less, I guess immersive is the right word I'm looking for. So Flambe, we'll talk about, like, you know, Google Maps is acting up. So I like that they use real names. There's a family trapped inside their home. We need to rescue them. Alright, so we can convince them to take a leap of faith, which sounds like an absolute horrible idea, or we can lead a path to circumvent smoke. Now, if we lead the path to circumvent smoke, that's a mobility check. It's not a vigor check or anything. We don't have much mobility. We have 3, but we have 7 charisma. Let's go and do that.
Ding ding!
Also, I think this is another bug in the game. You'll note that this was Golem and Golem unlock. So when you don't bring the right character, it will say it is locked up, doesn't show it, but it will show you after you have made your choices. Walk Through the Flames is probably meant for Malevola's portal creation, or more likely Flambe's fire meat. The reason I say that is when you bring Golem, if you pick this 4th option, the voice lines are exactly the same as stop, drop, and roll over fire. Your character Robert Robertson will exactly say that, and that's what happens. And I do think it's weird that you have 2 different options that would give you the exact same results, including victory. So this is probably meant for Malevola or maybe Flambe, but yeah, that doesn't really work here. If we sent Flambe to the previous blaze, you would have a Flambe clean up your mess. He just makes the fire get larger, which really leads you to bigger blaze in the burbs.
Whoa, that was great.
Even though that was an equal amount of intellect and mobility as far as these bullet points are listed, it does not equate into a 1-to-1 comparison for required stats. 100% right there. This is my random chance. We might fail this one. We have a... Oh, made it! Oh. Okay. I wasn't sure if I wanted to replay this a 9th or 10th time to try to get that, to try to get this one. All right. That mission that appeared over here underneath this window, that's a quest chain. And if you wanted to stretch out your hero's usabilities, you might wait on each previous quest chain to the wire. We don't need to do anything like that right now, but let's say I wanted Invisigal, which I kind of do. We wait for her to rest. They caught the kid, but have no idea what to do with a 12-year-old thief. Okay, we can escort him home or give him pep talk. Really think about your hero stats. Look at it. Pep talk, that's going to be charisma. But we have 4 mobility, so we could escort him home. Now, maybe it's also combat. Maybe he's going to get jumped on the way or whatever. But I'm telling you right now, it is a mobility check.
Somebody saw that, right? Oh, this? I'm just warming up.
That means it's the end of the day. No new random or alternative missions will appear except for the scripted ones, although they're all technically scripted.
All right, old snitch, just cut me a deal, okay?
For this one, if you send either Invisigal or Coupe, you'll already get the best possible choice. We're going to just go and send both anyway, so I can show you both.
If you say so.
Technically, I like the choice for Coupe more, so we'll make her team leader this time. yeah, that means that there's 2 missions on the first day that you want to send Invisigal and Coupe together on, even though they both have very similar stats in mobility and power or combat. The reason I'm mentioning this is when you're trying to level up your characters, that might be something you think about, where it's like, oh, well, I don't want to keep sending them out because I need a mobility character with combat skills. Because you've seen how the radius can be for your target.
Your confidence, Robert, as always, is deeply appreciated.
I'm waiting for Florida Man to nag me about spending my skill points. We have skill points, yeah. Yeah, we have skill points. Guess I didn't get it this time. Let's wait a little bit and see if we can get that to trigger. I guess not.
All right, take down the thieves, not the art.
I cannot make any promises. On point.
They each get 455 experience points. However, if you sent only one hero, that hero would take the entire share. They'd get 910 experience points. There could be a case to be made for sending fewer heroes, which is what we did typically. I just wanted to send both so you could see the options ahead of time. Get the paintings out, that's Invisigal, and take down the thieves. Well, I mean, I'd rather take down the thieves. That does protect the painting, so you get 2 birds, 1 stone. We're not going to click on that yet. We're just going to wait for Florida Man. He should be nagging us. Maybe it didn't nag because we already looked at the power-up spent. I don't think it had the bouncing 1 icon. So this give me a chance to talk a little more about stuff. Now that she's finished resting, we're gonna bam. This one doesn't even have a timer, so this is a special event that you can't get your way out of. It's how the demo closes itself. So we'll wait a little bit for Florida Man to chime in. All right, some other things that I didn't yet hit on the game. If you left the fire alone or you failed the mission, this area would still be on fire on your map, which I think is kind of cool. I do think that maybe they're saving it for another day, but I would have expected for them to zoom in on this lens right here on your monitor instead of panning to it during the laughing scene about Roberto Robertson, which again, I don't think is a very funny name. I mean, I've heard of names like that, but it's not one where I'd crack up, especially if I've hardened and seen a lot of crap in my day, which you would if you are a criminal, if you've ever spent time in jail, if you are a superhero, with powers that are of a physical nature, as in something that lets you fight people, and then there's conflict between people with other superpowers. You're gonna have seen some stuff. So hearing a dude named Robert Robertson is not the funniest thing you've ever heard. All right, I guess Florida Man's not gonna say anything. If I can get footage of that, I'll include that at the end as well, along with Flambe being refused to enter the bar.
Grannies, I got this.
Hold up, aren't you banned?
Yeah, and I gotta get unbanned. Yeah, nice try, dude. I'm not going anywhere. Except Grannies. Helping people is kinda nice. When you get paid for it. Can I get ice down here, please?
What does that mean?
She's asking for a tap-in. We got access to security cams of SDN subscribers all over our territory.
Wow, really? Is that legal?
Don't ask questions. Just always make sure to read the fine print.
You're Mega Man. You're dead, I thought.
This on the inside. My suit was destroyed.
You have a lot left to give. I would like to make you an offer.
This is SDN. How can we help you?
You want me to sit in an office and dispatch heroes?
In exchange, we can make you Mecha Man again.
Washed up dad bod superhero with no superpowers. Can't wait.
Whenever there's a crisis in the area, we get a call, and guess who answers?
Me.
Too easy.
Oh, you shouldn't have done that.
What are you doing, Invisigal? Is that your car?
I don't have a car.
That's gonna be a weird insurance claim.
The way things are going, I'd cut the whole damn team.
All of you in this room have set this program ablaze with your bullshit.
You're right at home behind that desk because you're no hero. You're a nerd playing a video game in a suit your daddy built.
You gonna eat those Twinks?
That's not what they're... You know what? Help yourself.
What's your name, little guy?
My name's Pete and I'm naked. Oh, no, I refuse to believe that's what he sounds like.
Welcome. For you, this will be the end of the episode. I don't know if it's called a director's cut or just commentary edition, but for me, this is actually my starting of the recording. But I've turned off voices, and I'll just sort of talk about some of the things I noticed during these sessions. What I'd like you to pay attention to is, first, when she goes by the copier person, I can't use the mouse. The stapler attaches she must have some sort of like magnetism. I think that's kind of funny. Like even the calculator has a different sound effect. If you look at them walk, but she actually walks a little bit differently. I think like heel first, and he walks like toe first. In addition to listening for the sound effects, watch their feet. So what sold me on this game, and it'll always pick A if you pick nothing, what sold me on this game was the animation. You can even see her kind of do an eye roll when she's advising you to look for a room with records room if you can't find it. Now I will say that I do think it's ridiculous that the main character isn't even tucking his shirt in on his first day at work. Really, I don't know of anybody that would really do that. Given that I assume that he's going to have a high hero ethic and he's going to try to get his misfits into shape. Now, the oldest, I guess most novice writing style would make the chick here turn out to be a supervillain in disguise at the very end of it. It's the kind mentor is actually the bad guy. I hope that's not the case. She actually seems like a really cool character. She's not ditzy, she's not dense, and she actually seems kind of with it. You can even hear her talking about Chase when she's like, Jesus, Chase. You know, her interjections are not totally meaningless. So I actually feel that she has the potential to be a great character. All right, I don't know about you, but I feel that him looking to the side right there is just weird. He looked to the side a couple of times. I think it's grossed out. And like, it's not really even a fist bump at this point. It's more like a forearm bump. Now, you can see that he's wearing glasses, and I don't know if he'll ever put it on, except for maybe like out of 1 or 2 scenes with the mech later on. I hope that he actually wears them more regularly so he looks less like a juiced up freak as he might put it, because he talks about being a juice head. For example, one of the small details, the air dryer doesn't finish drying his hands on one pass, so he hits it again. We do that. We live that. That's actually. I would like a couple more things on the wall in here, though. For example, generally in stores, you might see a sign that says employees must wash hands, right? Well, this is a superhero facility, so they'd probably try to get somebody that would try to exploit that as a loophole, saying like, or be a hero, stop germs in their tracks, wash your hands, or whatever. Or it could be even heroes with the ability to be on fire need to wash their hands. Whatever the case is, I feel like there would be some sort of sign there in the line of corporate management. This camera angle makes the door look really thin. Maybe if you could see the top of the door frame, or it's just kind of a completely flat angle, I think it might be better. But it makes it look like you're walking into a tiny, tiny closet. I know this is kind of a storage room, so it represents that as a closet, but I do think the door angle's a little off. Yes, and there's no way that whoever made Chase look like Black Einstein was an accident. I feel like it was too heavy-handed. It was still a funny joke, but I don't think you should condemn your character to living like that just to get one joke. The upcoming scene is probably my favorite scene in the demo so far. It is after you finish looking at all the hero records where he teases Black Einstein and says, "You want an arm squeeze?" Like that's my favorite scene. aging 50 times faster because you're moving faster is a very interesting dynamic. People have talked about how like Flash might need to eat a lot more because of his enhanced metabolism. I never really followed the Flash back in comic book days, but I think that was a thing for him. I still can't believe our hero hasn't even tucked in his shirt even after having gone to the restroom. Remember, this is his first day on the job, and so he feels it is normal to look like that. Just untuck all the way if that's the way you want to roll, dude.
Sorry, yeah, I can't do that. They won't let me back in there.
Hey, Robert. You've got some unspent points in your hero database. You should actually use those.
Oh, thanks. Forgot about those.